Weekly update from the Rob Mena Show. The stories the regime media hates. On Tucker Carlson tonight this week, January 6th defense attorney Joe McBride says the video under seal shows the truth about what happened on January 6th. The truth is coming, and they can't stop it. That's why they're asking for the government to release the tapes. Here it is.
Have an absolute right to know exactly who this person is, at least the other three who are encouraging violence and haven't been charged. Very quickly, you've seen videotape the rest of us have not seen that indicates there was quite a bit of violence, that they've highlighted a lot of violence. They've hidden other forms of violence. When are we going to get to see these tapes, and on what grounds are they being withheld from the public?
They're being withheld from the public because, like the Kennedy assassination, the government does not want us to see the truth about what happened on January 6th. I filed the motion this week asking for the unmasking of these videos. That motion was joined by the New York Times in a 16-point press conglomerate. They signed on and they said, you know what, we want to see the truth about what happened as well. The police brutality that took place inside of that tunnel is objectionable. There was one woman in particular who was wearing a red MAGA hat who was beaten within an inch of her life. Guess what? She lived, and she is likely at some point going to tell that tale. Roseanne Boylan died at the foot of those steps. Ashley Babbitt was murdered on national TV, and nobody has said nothing. The other side has labeled her an insurrectionist when she was nothing of the sort, nothing of the kind. The truth is going to come out. They cannot stop it. That is why we are asking for the government and for the judge, quite frankly, to release these tapes and let the chips fall where they may. Let the public and let the media objectively look at the evidence here and make a decision about what really happened that day. The truth is on our side. We are not hiding anything, Tucker.
The truth is on our side. It is coming out, folks. You and the government that are hiding the information public need to go ahead and release it right now, or you are going to be held accountable. From the Daily Mail, a Minneapolis man has been arrested and charged with attempting to intimidate the judge presiding over the trial of former police officer Kim Potter, who killed Daunte Wright after he staged a protest outside the door of her apartment. Cortez Rice, 32 years old, was arrested on November 29th, and the charges unsealed on December 3rd. Rice will be extradited back to Minnesota. He is charged with tampering with a judicial officer, a felony crime. Rice on November 6th staged a protest outside what he believed to be the house of Judge Regina Chu, who had initially ruled that cameras would not be allowed in her courtroom for Potter's trial. Rice live streamed himself inside the building, saying, "We on our heels." The video was posted on YouTube and is now deleted, but copies are circulating online. Here's the video.
House right here. Waiting for the gang to get up here. Predominantly white neighborhood. Look at this. Peace and love. All power to the people.
More updates coming to more news the regime media hates. Kyle Rittenhouse lashed out at NBA star LeBron James for poking fun at his tearful testimony during the Kenosha shooting trial on Twitter last month. Rittenhouse, 18 now, was dramatically acquitted in the shooting of Joseph Rosenbaum and Anthony Huber during a Black Lives Matter protest in Kenosha, Wisconsin last year. Rittenhouse appeared on the You Are Here conservative podcast on Monday when the hosts began bashing LeBron James. During the trial, as I said, the Lakers player mocked Rittenhouse for breaking down while giving testimony. In a Twitter post, he wrote, "What tears? I didn't see one. Man, knock it off. That boy ate some lemon heads before walking into court. But speaking to podcast co-hosts Sydney Watson and Elijah Schaefer this week, Rittenhouse hit back, saying this.
Obviously, lemons don't make Kyle cry. He just eats them.
I eat them
Okay.
straight up. I threw away my
Bronny.
Lakers shirt. Just so everyone knows.
I mean, I'm kind of disappointed you had one in the first place.
I'm
but-
from LA. I'm
Yo,
trying to get rings.
I was a Lakers fan too before he said that.
Yeah.
I was really pissed off when he
I
said
was
that
too,
because I like
unfortunate.
LeBron, and then I'm like, you know what? Keep LeBron.
Seriously.
Next up, a communist sent packing. Well, the Soviet-born Biden pick for bank regulator, Sol Omarova, dropped out of Senate confirmation after she, quote, lost support of moderate Dems, unquote, and was forced to deny being a communist from the Soviet Union and emerged as a person who was arrested for stealing from a TJ Maxx. Here is Louisiana Senator John Kennedy on Omarova's communist background.
Not 30 years ago, in a Canadian documentary, you called the financial services industry, quote, a quintessential industry. You wrote a paper called Systemically Significant Prices, calling for the federal government to set wages, food, gas prices. In 2020, you wrote a paper called The People's Ledger, where you said we need to abolish bank accounts and make everybody set up an account at the Fed where the federal government will have access to your data. In 2020, you wrote another paper called The Climate Case for a National Investment Authority, where you said what we need to do, the oil and gas industry, is have the federal government bankrupt so we can tackle climate change. In 2019, you joined the Facebook group, a Marxist Facebook group, to discuss socialist and anti-capitalist views. Now, that's what I see from your record. And you have the right to believe every one of these things. You do. This is America. But I don't mean any disrespect. I don't know whether to call you professor or comrade.
Communism is incompatible with the Constitution of the United States, my friends. Senator Kennedy is exactly right for opposing that nomination. Finally, there are 3 high-visibility trials, I mentioned one already, happening this week. The Ghislaine Maxwell Epstein underage sex trafficking trial, the actor Jussie Smollett's faking hate crimes trial, and the Officer Kim Potter manslaughter trial for accidentally killing Dante Wright, a young black man who had an arrest warrant for a weapons violation and forcibly resisted lawful arrest. Potter is the latest officer to be charged in Minnesota after interacting with a black male criminal and had intended to tase Wright, attempting to save her partner's life, who was physically inside the car trying to stop Wright from driving away at high speed, I'm sure. We don't expect any justice for the perps in the Epstein story at the Maxwell trial because James Comey's daughter, the prosecutor, has kept any information capable of being used against them from being made public. Independent analysts are even going as far as to say a conviction for Maxwell will be used to erase the Epstein story, and much more importantly, forever keep the involvement of big fish like Prince Andrew and Bill Clinton, among hundreds of others, from being exposed. On the Smollett case, I don't expect a just outcome, even though the prosecution has completely made its case. It's a joke, like the perp himself. Until next week.